So listen to this. When Eto was asked who was the current best African player, his answer shocked the whole room. And yes, I know his predictions are bad, but if you took a second look at this player, you would realise he was a freak of nature, who is always causing trouble wherever he goes and travelling the world like Nicholas Anelka. But who is this guy? Well, Nnamdi Okonkwo, a 27-year-old Nigerian born in the heart of Lagos, Nigeria, and trapped playing football in the Nigerian Premier Division for as long as he could remember, until one random day he received a call that changed everything. Before he knew, he was sitting in the Mainz office, signing a professional contract and preparing to play alongside some of the best players and under some of the best managers in world football. As he was announced as a Mainz player since one random scout said he was special, yet all German fans seemed to do was laugh at him and call him a disgrace when he only made one single mistake, after missing an easy chance against Heidenheim that cost them the game, meaning they failed to realise what they had done before it was too late, as this guy went on an absolute rampage, scoring goals as if his life depended on it. It was as if no defence could unlock his secrets, killing every single defence in the league before having to save his own by scoring multiple goals a game, as he seemed to be the only competent player, saving a team that was only destined for relegation. Yet Germany, including Mainz fans, couldn't accept that he was their saviour and the current best player in the league, maybe behind Harry Kane, just because he liked to bend the rules a bit when Mainz went on top, yet he was still helping them win the game psychologically, in essence how the Argentinians played at the World Cup. And Okonkwo supporters knew this talent could unravel Europe, including himself, so while Mainz for some reason was suppressing this talent, taking him off in every single big game and barely giving him opportunities, yet he took every opportunity he had and made team of the season and turned up in every big game he was given. Such as when he randomly showed up and scored a hat-trick versus Dortmund, single-handedly destroying the lot, pretty much stealing the Man of the Match award and making it his, and making all the Dortmund players beg for mercy even though they were the best defence at the time. But our hardcore German fans again, who according to them were trying to save football and controlled all of social media, referenced this and called him a disgrace, after cheating to get a goal that just didn't fit their identity, even though it saved them from being dragged into relegation and secured them second place in the top scorer rankings. But according to them, he was as bad as FIFA, which in my opinion is an insult that would offend your worst enemy. And I think Okonkwo reflected those feelings, as he was seen a month later driving away where all the fans could do was throw abuse, as this became the start of his journeyman antics. As whether he was succeeding or failing in his first season, all he could think of was to flee, with his next destination being Paris FC, although they didn't treat him too kindly either, as he once again missed an easy chance, maybe karma for fleeing a sinking ship. Whether I see it as Paris FC having little patience with him as he struggled to adapt to the league's ambitions, as his goal tallies represented two different people. I mean, it felt like he was just watching the game from the crowd, whether he was on the pitch or not, but in reality he was just struggling with injuries and adapting to the league in general, after rupturing his Achilles tendon in October. However, another fan once again called sabotage, and after getting called up to play for Nigeria, he ended up putting in some of the best performances by himself and ever seen by a Nigerian player, as defences once again struggled to beat him, such as getting a goal against France to nick a draw before taking the game by the throat against Serbia and scoring a beautiful goal against them. With these few clips being some of many great performances, yet it seems like Nigeria only cared about this Osimhen propaganda, forcing him into every single team even though he barely performed, and when you actually saw Nigerian celebrations, it looked like Okonkwo was just ignored. as Nigeria also joined the crew of people that just ignore the Okonkwo, and then you wonder why they can't qualify for a World Cup. Meaning that while Osimhen was getting more PI he didn't deserve, and Okonkwo was just getting more isolated by the minute, he would have to do something drastic if he wanted to survive. So Okonkwo was spotted hanging around a specific part of Turkey, not on holiday but hoping to get closer to winning a trophy, as Okonkwo signed this supposed long-term contract at the club, but what followed was a season beyond belief. Because after somehow getting a red card in his league debut, getting suspended for 3 games before being forced to do an interview apologising to the Trabzonspor fans, as he called it to them they didn't respect his abilities or conduct, pretty much telling him to focus on the football and not his off-the-field antics. However, they would do regret that statement after he broke records despite his circumstances. As like at Paris FC, he suffered from injuries that took almost 4 months, a recurring theme throughout his European tour, as he looked like he couldn't keep up with the intensity. But that still didn't stop his destruction of Turkish football, including beating Osimhen's Galatasaray as he scored the goal to knock them out the cup. A goal that looked like something small on paper, but something that meant a lot later on, as while Osimhen ended up outscoring him as he only managed to score 3 goals after coming back from injury in March, before losing the league title to a strong Fenerbahce side that had been brilliant all season, and watching his team win the cup without him being involved, meaning he didn't receive a medal. However, when Nigeria's squad for the upcoming AFCON was announced, there was only one thing everyone could talk about: Okonkwo starts. Nigeria media even claimed that Okonkwo had somehow hypnotised Eric Chelle into picking him, but what nobody realised was that Chelle saw something in Okonkwo that Victor Osimhen didn't have. Yet before he had the chance to prove himself, the chance was snatched away from him. Probably a byproduct of coming back too early from his club injury, but that meant he had to once again watch his team lift the trophy without him. And with Nigeria once again failing to qualify for the World Cup, that was his last chance to win an international trophy. So after AFCON, with many expecting Okonkwo to come back to Trabzonspor and do the necessary physio work to prepare for the new season, which in my opinion would have been the logical step, signing a new contract and committing his loyalty to the club, they were the only team to back him no matter what and support him through his injuries and struggles on and off the pitch. But what you as a viewer and what Trabzonspor fans failed to realise was that Okonkwo was only here to play for Nigeria. Because in Okonkwo's mind, Trabzonspor were never going to be able to win the league, which means he was never going to be able to win a trophy, so I think you understand what Okonkwo was going to do next. As the next thing you know, he was call up his agent and asking for a club that was capable of winning, and as soon as you know it, Okonkwo is already comfortable in the streets of Italy and scoring goals for fun like he owns the place. As in his words, he called Italian football life on easy mode, yet whatever I told you, his time in Italy had a darker story. You see, why was all smiles during his opening press conference? Fans were quick to point out Fiorentina's lack of need for strikers, with them already having 5 other first-team strikers, and with fans predicting for him to decline again, they quickly called it Okonkwo asking his Nigerian fans to make a call, ignoring his hard work in training, the skills he developed along the way in pre-season, and the constant international prestige he developed while playing for Nigeria. So when Okonkwo eventually made his debut, in came the avalanche of physical abuse, reflected at what seemed to be only Okonkwo, constantly making late and rash tackles after rumours over his camp bribing the team. Ludicrous, I know, but with Italy being heavily scrutinised over corruption after Calciopoli, Okonkwo's fate was as good as sealed, with him picking up 3 separate injuries in the first 2 months of the season. But come on, by now you must know what makes Okonkwo tick, as once again he went on a rampage, making sure to knock everyone out of his way, such as the game against Venezia where straight after getting knocked down, he kept going and scored a brilliant goal in a battering win against Venezia. with this becoming a theme that would determine Okonkwo's reign of terror after his comeback, with him knocking players that would apparently, according to him, was stepping his way, like when he scored a brilliant goal against Aswolo, putting 2 players to the floor, before moving on to scoring thumping headers like the one he managed to get against Udinese, to using tactics just under the line of what was allowed in the game to get his way in tight-held games, such as the tactic he used to get past Genoa, which is cheeky I know, but in Italy they're tactics you just have to use. But finally his main accomplishment was still having the ability to tackle players with grace after the physical abuse he ensued, as he went on to win multiple Player of the Month awards. Despite all those great accomplishments I've just told you, they legit just didn't care, as the fans now just moved on to screaming 1 in 10, which, while in my opinion definitely had some validity to it, linked to how Okonkwo might have scored 1 goal but just went on to miss 9 chances, but was still very harsh after what he had done. I mean, I literally feel so bad for the guy, like what more can he do to impress these fans? Well, according to Okonkwo, he hadn't even scratched the surface, burying those conversations with a well-worked first-team goal versus Lazio before hammering the ball into the net for the second in the same game, deciding crucial games that would define their season, as Lazio were battling for the Europa League. And yeah, it seemed like he didn't plan to stop, as he ended up screaming at the fans who weren't even piping up, "How much more do you want?" as he kept up his rampage, scoring another big goal against Genoa to win the game, where they cheekily after the game offered him a contract to end the season on a high after again scoring the winner versus Bologna. And yet, after everything he went through during the season, he still had the courtesy to blow them a kiss. Wow. As while some of the best football minds predicted he'd struggle, yet only 4 players in the league could outscore a player who was out for 2 months, as Fiorentina made the Europa League. And yet, to this day, I'll never know how he had the willpower to go further, but I guess that's the magic of football. Many people have tried and struggled to identify Okonkwo's true ambitions, whether it was showing his talents on the European grand stage and constantly proving to the world that he deserved to be there until he was known, to finding a true home in Europe and end his journeyman antics, or maybe his true ambition was just to shush the media critics and earn total respect no matter what mistake or antics he would pull. Now, while all these theories have been emulated throughout this story and can be seen as the most likely theory to be true, according to Okonkwo years later, his true ambition had to be finally ending his trophy drought. You see, Okonkwo throughout the story has never truly contributed to a trophy, a true achievement for all players on this channel, yet with injuries slowing him down, Fiorentina out of all cup competitions, and Okonkwo being clipped multiple times struggling to get up after light tackles by rival fans. Although in my opinion these are just aftershocks of previous tackles and other tackles like this one versus Juventus, where Bruno Martinez in this tackle absolutely nowhere near the ball tries to kill Okonkwo's ankle. And yes, I know what you're thinking about Okonkwo's next steps, that he'll just bounce back, but that just didn't happen, as fans lost hope as they expected at least something from their so-called star player, but it seemed like he was a shadow of his former self, missing easy chances like this one versus Inter. But alright, seriously, sorry for leading you on for so long. Yes, Okonkwo bounced back, like so many star players of a generation, it just takes time, as he eventually came back to become that player that we knew could decide games and win his team crucial games when it mattered, as he started off his reign of terror scoring a brilliant goal versus Como, and despite missing an easy chance once again later on, he bounced back from kickoff, showed no fear going into half-time, chipped, went round the keeper and slotted it home for a second, as he once again decided a game, with a celebration after scoring the second showing that no matter what, he would always find a way to shine through, as the wind started to creep up with him chipping in now and then, as he went to what I like to call a final rampage, such as when he used his developed skills to score crafty goals like a curler versus Monza, all once again turning up in big games in big stadiums like the San Siro for the first time, and he scored a hat-trick and celebrated like it was nothing. But finally, his main contribution that season was scoring last-minute winners, as he once again kept up his streak of scoring late goals like the one he managed to get against Bologna. Not the first time he's managed to do that, but definitely one of the most important times he's delivered, as these goals were important in Fiorentina, who were getting inevitably closer to winning the league, also known as Okonkwo's dream, with them just being a point behind Napoli going into the final game against Parma. Why, kid you not, it felt like Fiorentina forgot everything they fought for throughout this season and conceded 2 goals in the first half, and if it wasn't for one man while the rest of the people were doubting their abilities, turning up when it mattered, wrestling the ball into the net to get one back from a scruffy corner like he wasn't going to go anywhere, just for him to come back again, fight his way into the box and score a second to bring them straight back into this game and bring the ball straight back. And just when they considered another one in the second half and the game was dead, he looked at the time limit, he ran towards goal, he never stopped running, literally no one could get near him, he kept running, he went on one of the best runs I've ever seen in this league and put it in just as the time went dead. But celebrations had to be cut short, as after checking their phones they realised Napoli got the result they needed and Fiorentina's trophy dreams were over. But Okonkwo's main ambition when coming to Europe was put at a standstill, as he had to fight one more year despite his efforts to win that trophy. I haven't told many sad stories on this channel before, but after another decline and many minor injuries throughout the summer, he decided to retire at 33, but with multiple individual awards like Team of the Season, Golden Boots and goals within his career, he decided to reject a contract and end his legacy where it stood, so maybe his legacy wasn't completely erased.